Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about the power of focus, particularly the power of focusing on one thing at a time in your fitness journey. You actually will see better results. You might not be seeing results at all if you're focusing on too many things at a time in your fitness journey. So you could just start seeing results, period, or you'll start seeing better results, and you will actually start seeing those results faster if you start to focus on one thing at a time in your journey. But before we talk about focusing on one thing at a time, let's just talk about the power of focus in general for a moment. I love this saying about your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become you, basically. And so what you think about, what you focus on becomes your thoughts. And so your focus to begin with is very, very important. And to relate this to your fitness journey, I have a lot of clients that come to me and they're already doubting their success. You know, like, I've tried programs before, and I've tried macros before, and I've tried these workouts before, and I always fail, or it's just how I'm built. I'm built this way, or it's hereditary for me to look a certain way. It's like these negative thoughts already, or that they're going to fail. They think they're going to fail already. And we have to start with focusing on the fact that, okay, but you've never tried macros with me before. You've never tried these workouts with me before. Like, you've never done it this way. And so changing your thoughts, changing your focus is absolutely huge. That's a game changer in itself. So I just want to start this episode by talking about that. I personally, in my own life, am experiencing the power of my thoughts right now and what I'm focusing on. So, you know, my focus becomes me. It becomes how I get things done during the day, how I start my day, and what I'm focusing on, who I'm focusing on, myself, right? That becomes who you are. And so your focus is very, very important. So, but today I want to narrow down this topic, of course, and focus it on your health and fitness journey. And so we're going to be talking about the power of focusing on one thing at a time in your fitness journey and how that will actually help you see results. The idea for this topic, this episode, came from last week's episode because I am getting a lot of questions. I'm getting some amazing feedback from last week's episode all about maintenance calories, and you guys are reaching out asking about, you know, how long this takes and if you're doing it right, and giving me examples and asking a million questions, and you loved the information. It really clicked for you and how this can help you. But when you're asking me these questions, you're also asking, you know, how will this help me lose weight? How will this help me gain weight? How will this help me tone up? And it made me realize that we are still trying to focus on so many things at a time, and we're trying to get to these things so quickly. And that's actually not the goal. So because, for example, finding your maintenance calories is an experiment. It's going to take some time. It takes time to learn about your body. So you won't necessarily lose weight while you're finding your maintenance calories. You need to focus on finding your maintenance calories. You need to focus on one thing at a time, because when you know your goal and you have a clear outline to get there, it makes it easier to spend time on the tasks that are maybe not as fun. So another example of focusing on one thing at a time and having a little bit of patience would be if you are wanting to put on some muscle and have a toned body. So for example, when I was more skinny and I wanted to look strong, I had to start eating more and I had to start lifting heavier weights so that I could gain a little bit of muscle. Yes, gain a little bit of fat, but then later on, cut back on my calories, cut back on the amount of weight I was lifting, and reveal that shredded body. But I am not going to be able to eat more and lift heavier to gain muscle and also see the scale go down. So I can't focus on fat loss and muscle gain at the same time, right? So when you know your goal, though, when my goal is to look toned, I know that I have to gain some strength. When my goal is to find my maintenance calories, I know I'm not going to be able to lose weight necessarily while I'm doing that. But you have to have the mindset of, okay, I'm doing this right now, right? This is my goal and this is what I have to do to get there. And so that's okay. In the beginning of my journey, I didn't know this. I was all over the place. I wanted my body to look a certain way. I had just had my second baby. I had gained more weight with that pregnancy than I've ever gained in my life. I didn't know how to get the weight off necessarily. I wasn't really worried about that though. It was like my body just looked a lot different than it used to. And I didn't feel comfortable in this new body of mine, of this new version of me. I had no idea though how to get to where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to look toned. So what I started doing was running 3 to 4 miles a day. I love to run. I don't know if I love to run anymore because I don't do it. It doesn't align with my goals, but I wanted to look toned. I was already skinny as fuck. And I started to run 3 to 4 miles a day. That made no sense. I also had no idea if I was eating enough or what that even meant or that was a thing. I started cutting carbs. I was all over the place. And I'm sure that sounds familiar. You may be sitting there right now wanting to look a certain way. And, you get frustrated and you're like, that's it. I want to fit in these jeans or I want to lose weight. And you start doing 10 different things, right? You start lifting a couple, weights a couple days a week. You start going for walks. You start running. You start drinking water. You start cutting carbs. You do 10 different things to try to get you to this goal that's not even specific, which will never, ever work. And so that's why it's so important to have someone or hire someone that does know how to help you get to your goals, because this will it took me years to figure this out on my own, and it takes me a couple of months to teach this to my ladies. Side note, how I do teach this to my ladies is when a client first comes to work with me, we have an initial call that helps me to get to know them. I get to know what their goals are, what they have tried in the past 5 to 10 years, what they're currently trying. And often this sounds very similar to the example that I just gave you. They have a certain goal. They've been trying all these different things to get there. They're stuck in this cycle and they need help, right? So I then have them track their food intake for a week, and that lets me know their starting place. And then I, as their coach, can decide what is best for them based on what they've told me and their current week calorie average. I know if they need a reverse diet or if we need to make things just more simple, like some simple tweaks to their foods to hit their macros. I set certain workouts up based on their goals and we get started. And as we go, I explain what we're doing and why we're doing it so they can see it working and they trust me and they understand. So that's a little bit about how we do it. I did that on my own. It took me freaking years. Highly suggest that you don't do that. But anyways, back to the topic. To relate all of this to today's topic of focusing on one thing at a time, in the beginning, if I would have broken down my goals and worked on one thing at a time, I would have gotten to my goal a lot sooner. So yes, you can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. That is exactly what I have my ladies do. I actually had this conversation in a group chat with a couple of my clients earlier this morning. A lot of them the scale is staying the same, but they are feeling smaller. They're staying muscle toned. Their clothes are fitting differently. Like they're shrinking. They can see obliques. They can see abs. They can see leg muscles. And they're confused because the scale is staying the same. Well, you are gaining muscle and you are losing fat at the same time. That's essentially what I'm doing is reverse dieting them. But when that happens, muscle is more tight. It's smaller than the fat. So the muscle is replacing the fat. So it's pound for pound on the scale, but it's smaller on your body. The muscle is smaller on your body. So yeah, you're toning right up and you're seeing this happen. That's because I'm the coach and I know where to put your macros, and we trial and error that for a while, and I have you do specific workouts to get to your goals. That's hard to do on your own. So basically, when my clients come to me, I'm having them do this to prime their body for whatever is next. And so as they're losing fat and gaining muscle, there's the number on the scale is going to be staying the same while we're reverse dieting them. Then if their next goal is to gain more muscle, I will then up their calories a little bit. We'll start a different training program, and they will do that. If their next goal is to lose weight, lose fat faster, we will cut back on their calories and they'll do more reps with lighter weight, and we'll start seeing their body change that way. But first, we have to set the foundation. First, we have to focus on that one thing at a time, which is getting that macro and workout ratio exactly where it needs to be able to see the fat loss and muscle tone that they want. But that is a little bit easier with a coach, like I said. So generally, you are going to have to separate your goals and set your foundation. There is a specific way that you should eat to lose weight, to lose fat. It's not the same way that you're going to eat to gain muscle and to look toned. There is a specific way you should work out to lean out and tone up. You should not be doing a ton of cardio or a lot of walking if your goal is to build muscle. Those things counteract each other, right? If you're looking to burn a ton of calories and you're walking and you're doing cardio, that's telling your muscles one thing. If you're trying to lift heavy, eat more, tear down that muscle so it can rebuild and grow stronger, those things are not the same. Doing cardio and doing really heavy weightlifting is sending your muscles, your body, mixed signals, and that's not going to work. And that's where we get stuck. You should not cut carbs if your goal is energy. If you want more energy and you're cutting carbs, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. So you have to focus on one or the other. In fact, if you cut carbs, you won't see fat loss or energy or muscle gain or anything. You should never cut carbs, in my opinion, unless you can't digest them. That's another topic. You should not restrict calories if you want a better relationship with food. That is not going to work. So these are just examples of how you need to be focusing on one thing at a time. And that's what I really work on with my ladies. And that's what I want you to take away from this is I want you to have very specific goals for yourself. I want you to break down those goals into what you're going to be able to work on at the same time, right? So yes, you can work on finding your maintenance calories and having a better relationship with food. You cannot work on having a better relationship with food and restrict calories and restrict certain food groups and wonder why that's not working for you. So it's really a matter of trying to figure out what things are going to get me to my goals and what can I work on right now to get me to my goal, and then what's the next step. So a lot of times these things do work together. That's why I always just talk a lot about hitting your macros and working out in a certain way, having a plan, and drinking water. Basically, those are the three things that you can do all at the same time to be able to see the goals that you want. But if your goal is fat loss, you won't be building muscle at the same time. If your goal is muscle gain, you won't be seeing any weight loss. Trust me, if your goal is to understand macros and to have a better relationship with food and to fix your self-limiting beliefs and to, think about the way that you grew up thinking about food, and you really, really want to change that for yourself, for your children, for, whatever your why is as far as that goes, you really just want to fix your relationship with food, then you can't be stuck in a low-calorie diet. You can't be necessarily losing weight while you're fixing your relationship with food. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to lose weight or that it's never going to come off or that can't ever be your goal. It just means that your focus right now is something else. And so that's a reason why a lot of us, a lot of you, maybe you sitting there right now, maybe this is why you're failing, because you're stuck in this cycle. So maybe this is what I used to do. So let me let me set the scene here of my cycle of suck that I used to be stuck in. I would look in the mirror and not like the way that I looked. And so I would cut calories, foods, right? That's why I used to like sneak the pizza crust out of the trash can because I could not have carbs. I couldn't have all the things because I needed more restriction. I needed to cut back. So I would do that for a couple of days and then I would be really mad at myself because, this is no way to live. I can't live like this. I'm basically eating nothing and I'm so grouchy and I'm starving and I'm sneaking food out of the trash. So I need to fix my relationship with food. I need to be able to eat carbs and figure that out. So, Sunday, I'm cutting carbs. By Wednesday, I'm wanting to fix my relationship with food. And so I'm eating carbs and then I feel so confused. So then I'm thinking, should I work out then or not work out? Because if I'm eating carbs, they're bad for me. I might as well not work out. It's like, they're basically canceling each other out. So now I don't know what to do at this point. And I would get so freaking confused and I would eat Oreos. Definitely by the 20 a day, I'd be binge eating those and then I'd be regretting that decision and then I wouldn't eat anything the whole next day. Try to fast for a couple of days. I would just drink protein shakes for a while. I would juice for a little while and then my relationship with food would again be terrible. I would be scared to eat anything that had a carb listed in the nutrition facts. And so then I would start all over again with, I can't live like this. This isn't how I want my daughter to grow up seeing me eat. So now I have to fix my relationship with food and so on and so on. This was me for years and years and years. And so you can see where I had no focus. I had little goals, but I had no idea what to focus on. So I didn't focus really on anything, which is my problem. But I definitely was focused on, if anything, 10 things at once. And that's not going to get you anywhere in life, really. It doesn't get me anywhere in my business. It doesn't get me anywhere in my relationships. And it certainly doesn't get me anywhere physically as far as my physical goals. So get very, very specific about what you want in this health and fitness journey, or you will be stuck in this cycle forever. Get very specific on your goals and then focus on one thing at a time for however long it takes for you to be able to achieve that desired result, and then move on to the next desired result. This is how it's done. And if you need help with this, we all need help with this, right? It's like, this is a journey that we definitely are going to need some encouragement on. We're going to need some accountability on. We're going to need someone to say, this is okay, right? My ladies reach out to me all the time and will ask me questions like, this is how I'm feeling. Is this normal? And 100% of the time it's normal. You will never have an original fear or thought or self-limiting belief in your health and fitness journey. Trust me. Ladies, especially, if you are having a self-limiting belief or a fear around food or a fear around workouts, someone else, another female, has absolutely had the same thought. We all have the same thoughts as far as health and fitness and food and nutrition and workouts and muscles. We all have the same thoughts, and that's what I'm here for, is to guide you through those thoughts. So just a reminder, the power of focus in general is so, so important. And focusing on one thing at a time in your fitness journey is how you will actually see the results and build the badass body that you are capable of building. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions or comments or anything, you know where to reach me on Instagram. I'm at Christy Castillo Fit. You can shoot me an email. All the links to all of my things are in the show notes below, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.